Hey everyone, Jake back again with another episode here, except for I'm going to start a new series here. It's not going to be like what I used to do. It's going to be a little different, so it's going to be on the same page. Obviously, it's going to be under the Cloud Surfing name. It's all going to be the same. I'm just going to kind of vary up what types of episodes I'm going to have, so I'm going to kind of break it into a couple different, like, it's going to be the sports shows, which I did with Tanner. It's going to be like the regular guest shows where I just have a one-on-one like I did with, Norby and with Michaela and Tanner, I guess, too, yeah. And then I'm going to start doing another one here. I'm going to call this one the Homicide. It's just a Homicide stuff. The reason why is because since I was a kid, I've been super into all that type of shit. Like, I don't know, my mom always impressed in my head that the whole world was always trying to steal us and kill us and blah, blah, blah. So, I grew up watching Forensics Files with her and all those other shows. And then, yeah, I'm not really into those fake shows either, like CSI and NCIS and stuff. I mean, like, we used to watch them when I was a kid and whatever, but I'm not into the fake shit. I'm into, like, the real shit, like Forensics Files and FBI Files and stuff like that. I'm not into, like, the shows that like Live PD where they chase cops on the street and kind of I'm not into that. But I am into these dope ass shows about like how serial killers work and why people do what they do and stuff like that. I just like solving mysteries and blah blah blah. So today I'm gonna break it down into two different things, and this could obviously change because there's really no rules to this. I'm just gonna do whatever I want. So I'm gonna do like an unsolved murder, and then I'm going to also do like a solved one. So I'm just going to tell the story. And then if you guys have any stories that you want to send in, like you're like, oh my god, talk about that homicide or this one, or if you're like, I know of this one happened near me or something, I don't know, whatever, who gives a shit. Just, yeah, email jakewritercomedy@gmail.com. Send everything there. That is where I check all that stuff. Again, thanks for listening. I do need to plug this. Patreon.com/JakeWriterComedy. Go there. Please become a patron of mine. Everyone's just, I don't know. It's really the best way of helping me grow here. It's like $5 a month. Literally, it's not that much. I know some people just don't have that extra money, and I totally get it. I've been there. I'm not trying to pressure anyone. It's just the best way of making sure that I'm not going to get like 7 cents for an episode. I'd rather get a legitimate amount, you know what I mean? It's just, it is work to do this stuff. It's not like I couldn't be doing something else. I could pick up another job again. Like, I don't work enough of those as it is. But it's just, this is what I like to do, and I know you guys like listening. So that is the best way of keeping me doing this, so that I can keep bringing you stuff, and so that I can keep chasing my awesome dreams. And I appreciate you guys for helping me chase said awesome dreams. Anyway, back to the sode, which is, episode, whatever. So, today I'm going to talk about, starting off with the unsolved murder of Elizabeth Short, aka the Black Dahlia murder, or otherwise Black Dahlia. We'll call it the Black Dahlia because, there's a comedian, Chris D'Elia, and we don't want him affiliated with this, so we're just going to go ahead and call it the Black Dahlia, and I'm pretty sure that's what the real word is anyway. So, we're going to start out with that. And it was nicknamed the Black Dahlia because there was a flower on her or something like that. This was in a time where like cops didn't get to the scene first. So what happened? Like literally, it sounds crazy, but journalists and other news agencies would get there first. They would show up before the cops. They'd meet them there like, hey, what's going on? I already took all the pictures and we're all over all the evidence already. Shit's already all fucked. Sorry, I stepped all over your evidence field. Sorry about that. That wasn't important. And they like took pictures of everything first. And what's crazy about it is this was a very particular, just disgusting. I'm probably don't Google the images of this. It's not good. This was one of the most brutal murders in history. Elizabeth Short was her name. She was brutally murdered in Los Angeles in 1947. Her body cut in half and severely mutilated. The Black Dahlia's killer was never found, making her murder one of the oldest cold case files in LA to date, and definitely the city's most famous. It's not the city's most whatever. It's just the most famous one according to this site. Sites for this that I'm using, just so you know, FBI.gov, LA Times, Wikipedia, Murderpedia. So I have a couple different sources that I used when I'm going through this. It was nicknamed the Black Dahlia. Elizabeth Short was born in Boston, Massachusetts on July 29th, 1924. 22 years later, Short, an aspiring actress, was brutally murdered in Los Angeles, California, her body cut in half and severely mutilated. You heard that right, her body was physically cut all the way in half. No, it's not great. It's not where you want to be. Oh man, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay, yep, here I am. I'm sorry, I lost my place in this, and I wrote all this stuff, but my handwriting is such shit. I should probably start typing this instead of writing it by hand. Oh my god. She was born July 29th, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. She is the third of 5 daughters. Holy shit, 5 daughters in one fucking roof. Unbelievable. That's tough, man. Like, there was a bunch of boys under the same roof, and that was tough. Imagine a bunch of girls. I mean, guys going through puberty, they're fucking worse than women. I swear to God. But, like, oh my God, the drama. I can't even begin to believe that. Just, 5 daughters. Whatever. Sorry. Born to Cleo and Phoebe May Short. Sorry. Cleo and Phoebe May Short. Cleo Short abandoned the family when Elizabeth was 5 years old. Oh, stand-up guy. Thanks, man. Nice. Dickhead. At a young age, Short developed a strong affinity for cinema. By her teens, she had set her sights on becoming an actress. By the mid-1940s, Elizabeth Short was living in Los Angeles, California, working as a waitress to support herself while dreaming of catching her big break in the Hollywood's acting scene. Her chance at stardom, however, oh my god, I printed like front and back, so it's like I flipped that weird. Okay. Would never come. In January 1947, a horrific tragedy occurred. At the age of 22, Short was brutally murdered in Los Angeles, her body cut in half and severely mutilated. Her body was found nude and posed in a disgusting position. But when they say disgusting, they meant like they tried to set her up in a very provocative position so that whoever found her would just see her in a manner that she definitely would not want to be found. By a local female resident on January 15, 1947, in a vacant lot near Leimert Park on the 3800 block of LA's South Norton Avenue. The lady who found her was actually walking with her child at the time and walked up and thought it was a mannequin since it was in the parking lot of an abandoned shopping mall. But upon further inspection, she realizes that it was actually a body and not obviously. Jesus, Jake, why'd you write that? The chief, blah, 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 sorry. It was a pretty gruesome scene. Brian Carr, a detective with the Los Angeles Police Department, who has long worked on the Dahlia case. I'm sorry, I can't say this word right on the top of my tongue. Oh, my God. Later said, I just can't imagine someone doing that to another human being. In addition to dissecting and mutilating her body, Short's killer had drained her corpse of blood and scrubbed it clean. So, if you're missing this dude cut her in half, and the way he did it was there's a part on your back, there's a vertebrae that's just cartilage, and it's the only place that you can like separate your spine without breaking a bone. So he did it in like a very meticulous way, and then he drained all the blood out of her, and then cleaned her body and left a giant like Joker smile on her face. So it was like a 3-inch scar on the left side and a 2.5-inch scar on the right side, and it's just it's fucking crazy. I can't believe it's just who the fuck does that type of shit? What's wrong with you? It's nuts. Ugh. Just, you know what's gross is like you watch all those things and it's like probably you're like your bro. You're like, oh my god, dude, I didn't even realize you were that big of a douche. He's like, yeah, I know. I don't know. It's like the Ted Bundy movie. How everyone thought he was just that cool guy, but he was really just a giant douchebag. It's an understatement. More than a douchebag, obviously. this is the language of someone who generally speaking just lets things roll off his tongue. If I say anything that offends you, know that first of all, I don't give a fuck. Second of all, I guess sorry, this is a sensitive topic, so, yeah, I'm sorry if I say anything during this time that offends you. Just know that I use this as a way to, like, serve my mind's ability to problem solve, research. Like, I have a very busy brain that loves to constantly just, it loves to just think of everything, do everything at once, so when I can do something like this and focus on it, and plus, I'm a fucking comedian, dude. I'm gonna have a comedic approach to everything. It's how I get through life. It's my defensive mechanism. Just get the fuck over it, alright? You're on the podcast. I didn't have you click on the little yellow button. That was you. Or, what? No, it's the orange button. Jesus, I don't even know my own colors. Anyway, the case quickly became heavily covered by media. Her moniker, Black Dahlia, became widely known shortly thereafter, as it was used more frequently than her actual name by the press. The case itself took on a life of its own, Carr said. Early on, I think for 2 months it was on the front page news and all the local papers daily, but the media was incredibly brutal towards her in regards to calling her a street roamer, a sex worker, or anything of the sort. Now, at the time, she was one of those women who was more just kind of coming in, and in LA, dude, LA is like the land of broken dreams. Like, everyone goes there thinking they're going to make it, and like 1 out of every 1,000 people makes it. That's why there's so many homeless people there. It's a crazy place. It's just a weird place. So they were just calling. She's not from there, and the media genuinely did not know who the hell she was. I mean, they had to put out these posts asking for information. I'm looking at, like, right now an FBI poster asking for more information on this lady because they honestly did not know who the fuck she was. And so it's just it's wild just to watch, and it's to today. Today they still do this. It's like when a woman has something happen to her, they automatically like, well, what did she do? Is it because she's on the street? No, dude, she's just fucking, what are you talking about, man? She didn't do anything wrong. She's just existing, and some asshole cut her in half. Yeah, it's not her fault. And to this day, the media loves to, and they passively slander people. Like, they'll say something like, yo, they have an unaccredited source. It's like, dude, most sources are unaccredited that you don't say that to. Like, how many of your anonymous sources are accredited, you douche? Anyway. An in-depth, lengthy investigation by the LAPD ensued, leading to a number of false reports, including several fake murder confessions, meaning that people who were probably already in there or whatever that were just like, yeah, man, that was me, motherfucker, that was me. It's like, no, it wasn't. Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. And they got proof because, no, you're not. Whatever. People would try to take this on as, like, people were taking it on as a way to fame. Like, this is how I'm going to get famous. I'm going to take credit for this brutal act. Like, that's a weird place to be, man. If you need that much attention, buy a dog. Anyway. And blah, 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 including several false murder confessions and ultimately leaving detectives grasping at straws. The sole witness of the murder had reported seeing a black sedan parked in the area in the early morning hours but could provide police with little else. The combination of faulty witnesses and a lack of hard evidence surrounding the case greatly hindered its progress, and despite numerous allegations and leads over the years, the Black Dahlia's killer was never found. Today, the Black Dahlia murder remains one of the oldest cold case files in LA as one of the city's most famous. In early 2013, the Black Dahlia case returned to the headlines. An article in the San Bernardino Sun detailed a more recent investigation of the case that was conducted by a retired police sergeant, Paul Dostie, and author Steve Hodel, and a police dog named Buster, with a keen sense of smell. See, they got a dog, dude. They're smart. They're like, you know what? We got to get a dog to figure this shit out. This dude who needed the dog to just prevent the whole thing, whatever. Specifically, that he had a keen sense of smell, specifically that of decomposing flesh, which he was trained to detect. According to The Sun, the investigative team had uncovered incriminating evidence against Hodel's father, Dr. George Hill Hodel, who was the younger Hodel. Who was the younger Hodel, has long believed to be the Black Dahlia killer. So let me try this one again, because people are like, Jake, what did you just say? So there's an author, Steve Hodel, right? He's looking through all of his shit. He's looking through all of his stuff, and it turns out that he thinks his dad might be the killer of this lady. Basically, it's saying that his father is Dr. George Hill Hodel, who is the younger Hodel of the youngest one, who is believed to be the killer. They're like, you know what? I found a letter. This guy, blah blah blah. In February 2013, the team conducted an extensive search of the doctor's home, where Buster had previously detected the scent of human decomposition in several areas of the fucking basement. Okay, so even if this wasn't him in this specific case, we got to check into this shit, right? I mean, we got human decomposition in several areas of the basement. They're like, oh yeah, I mean, I was just over there, and I just just ripped off a piece of my thigh and just threw it in the corner. Just wanted that flesh to rot in the corner. Like, no, you fucking didn't. You fucking loser. Anyway, following their search, soil samples taken from Dr. Hodel's home were reportedly submitted for lab testing. Other evidence against George Hodel according to his son, includes an old recording of a conversation between the doctor and an unknown person, to which Dr. Hodel allegedly states, quote, "Supposing I did kill Black Dahlia, they couldn't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary because she's already dead." End quote. Okay, that's not a good quote to have on tape there, Buster Brown. Kind of sounds like this guy. Okay, and let's break in. Okay, so this dude's a fucking doctor, which means he's a surgeon, right? So if this dude's a surgeon, and this cut was so precise to be cut in half, and then her blood was drained out of her, and he knew where the vertebrae was, I mean, clearly, and this is just me jumping to the biggest conclusion, I think this guy did it. And obviously, because I wrote this down, I think this guy did it. There's obviously other leads and sources that people are saying, well, this guy did it, that guy did it. But when you're reading into them, some of the other guys, it's just unsubstantiated, and they're like, well, here's all the evidence for it, and then it's like a little quote, but unfortunately it looked like he was in prison at the time. Well, why would you put this up there as he was a fucking option? No, he's in jail, you dick. Like, you got me all excited. Let me read this whole fucking page, and it wasn't even him. So I kind of broke all those down. Again, you can go through my sources, you can go to those places, and they cite the rest of them, but I believe that this dude, Dr. Hodel, is the guy because he was a fucking psycho. Let me know what you guys think of this case. If you guys want to, there's a place called the Death Museum in California. It's an awful place to be. It makes you feel incredibly eerie and out of your skin. You can go visit there, and there's a whole exhibit dedicated to just this murder. And it's pretty cool. So, again, it's just, I guess you don't really know who you can trust. Just, it's pretty tough. It's a tough world out there. So, if you ever hear someone, I guess just scream real loud. That's a tough one. Anyway, so that was my unsolved murder, and sorry if this was not the best first attempt at this podcast. It's just me giving her a rip, so if you don't like it, I don't give a shit. That kind of rhymed, so that's cool. Next up is going to be the solved murders. So this one is going to be a pretty famous case that we can discuss. It's called the DC Snipers or the Beltway Snipers. We're going to just talk mostly about the guy behind the trigger, which is John Allen Muhammad. But just to give you a heads up, there's another guy involved, and I'm going to name all this, but Lee Boyd Malvo. That's one of the other dudes. And these dudes were real big douchebags, and I bring this up right away because these are two pretty famous cases. I know people, you should say the name right away. Jesus, dude. I'm pretty sure everyone already knows that. But if you don't know about this, this was one that the FBI was like, what's happening? Gas stations were putting up tarps everywhere to stop people, just like try to keep people safe from when they're pumping their gas. People were like sprinting through parking lots to get to their car because they were deathly afraid. They were keeping their kids home from school. I honestly can't even imagine living in some place where you're just constantly under fire like that. It's crazy. It's fucking crazy. So I'm going to get into it here. Here's my book report. John Allen Muhammad became this is kind of like an overview. became an infamous figure as part of a sniper team that terrorized the Washington, D.C. area for several weeks in October 2002. But who was John Allen Muhammad? Well, he became an infamous figure in American culture as part of the sniper team with Lee Boyd Malvo that terrorized the Washington, D.C. area for several weeks in October of 2002, making the sniper nest out of the trunk of his car. He and Malvo killed 10 people and injured 3 others. Muhammad was executed in November 2009. So it does have a, I'm just going to move on. Early life, and John was born John Allen Williams on December 31st, 1960 in New Orleans, Louisiana. He was raised by his aunt in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, after his mother died when he was only 4 years old. After high school, Muhammad got married to Carol Kegler and joined the Louisiana Army National Guard. They had a son named Lindbergh. That's a dope name, It is. Charles Lindbergh, dude who flew the Spirit of St. Louis across the Atlantic, first flight. We had no windows. That dude was nuts. Anyway. First flight across the Atlantic, not first flight, obviously. At first, his military career seemed promising. He was described as personable and outgoing by his commanders, but by the early 1980s, cracks were beginning to show in his facade. He got in trouble twice, once for failing to report for duty and another time for hitting an officer. Okay, so here's the deal. If you're in the military, you don't smack up your officer. It's like right in there that you will respect the responsibilities, blah, blah, blah. I don't really know the entire oath, but it's basically saying that you're going to fucking listen to your officers. And it's not like yes man listening, it's just like you don't smack them in the fucking face. You don't do that. Muhammad turned his life around in 1985. He separated from his wife, converted to Islam, and joined the U.S. Army. Damn, that's like 3 giant things in one sentence, Jake. You shouldn't just... Oh yeah, you guys like listening to that sound. Sorry about that. That was me drinking out of a Sprite can. He was stationed in Washington State and later married Mildred Green. The couple had 3 children. The army seemed to be a good fit for Muhammad, at least for a time. But then he became a skilled marksman and served in Germany and the Middle East during the Gulf War. But he ran into family troubles because he became restless. Muhammad left the military in 1944. He tried to start his own business twice. First, an auto mechanic shop, and then a karate school. But both ventures failed. But it seems like you don't really know what you want to do. You're going for like, do I want to fix cars or do I just want to fucking do karate, dude? Like, what do I want to do? Well, I understand being well-rounded, but, when it comes to the business world, you don't just dump money into some shit you have no idea if you even, you're just kind of, well, I kind of like that, just do it. Anyway, in 1999, his second wife, Mildred, filed for divorce, and the next year she got a restraining order against Muhammad because of the threats he made against her. Okay, here's another red flag. So here we've got 2 red flags just... So the first one was when he got in trouble for smacking up an officer, in my opinion. And the next time was the second red flag. These are the major red flags, was obviously all the threats and she had to get a restraining order. So this guy's clearly a nutcase. Shortly after the order was issued, Muhammad fled to Antigua. I probably said that wrong. With the couple's 3 children, which that is in the New England area where these attacks happened. D.C. area, blah, 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 blah. It is believed that this is also where he met his future accomplice, Lee Boyd Malvo. Muhammad later returned to the United States, settling in Bellingham, Washington, with his children. Soon, however, police officers found him and returned the children to their mother's custody. Because you can't just steal the fucking kids if you can't just do that shit. Oh my god. People are nuts, man. People feel that they own their children. Okay, I'd like to clear the air real quick. You don't own your children. You are a parent to that child, but that is their own. That's a person. You don't own them. You just can't. You cannot own them. Yeah, you make responsible decisions on their behalf while they're young. Yeah, you raise them well. Yeah, you feed them. Yeah, but listen, man. No one told you to fuck. All right, you did that. You fucked each other, and then you made a kid. And now, like my favorite thing. Oh, I put you in this world. I could take you out of it, bitch. Shut the fuck up. You are not gonna do any of that. All you did was you got fucking laid one night, and then the next, 3 weeks later, this girl was like, oh my god, can I call you? And he was like, oh my god, and he was sweating like that Key and Peele picture. And then she's like, I'm pregnant. And he's like, fuck, should we get an abortion? And she was like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then the kid was made, and then he acts like he should be a proud parent for that. It happens a lot, believe it or not. I'm pretty sure most parents of my age group, that was kind of how it went, since all of our parents are divorced. Anyway, I'll move on. Shortly after the order was issued, I said all of that. Anyway, returned the children to the mother's custody, where she moved them to Maryland. She was like, we up and out this bitch. Smart lady. So, he basically loses his fucking shit because he just lost his 2 children. Because, I mean, listen, if you wouldn't have tried to steal your children, you wouldn't, have them taken away and then have the mom freak out and move away a couple states after you threaten her life a few times. You can't just do all these terrible things and then expect shit in your life to go well. It's just not how it works. Enraged over the loss of his children, Muhammad began to fixate on Malvo, who had moved to the Bellingham area with his mother, Una James, that October. They lived together in a homeless shelter and developed a disturbing father-son dynamic. This is, we're talking about Muhammad and Malvo, not Una James. So together, Muhammad and Malvo moved into this homeless shelter, and they had a disturbing father-son dynamic. Muhammad seemed to control every aspect of Malvo's life, imposing an exercise program and a special diet program on him, one that reportedly consisted of just honey and crackers at one point. Okay, that's strange. Malvo and James were taken into custody by immigration officials in December of 2001 for being in the country illegally, but they were released while waiting for a hearing, and Muhammad was soon reunited with Malvo. He began to teach Malvo how to use a gun, and they used a tree stump in a friend's yard for target practice. By the fall of 2002, Muhammad and Malvo had moved on from tree stumps to real-life victims. They were involved in a liquor store shooting in Alabama before beginning their assault on Washington, D.C. area in October. Muhammad's ex-wife Mildred and his 3 children lived in nearby Maryland, and there were reports that Muhammad stalked the family around the time of the sniper attacks. Yeah, he probably fucking did, because he's obviously crazy. A skilled mechanic, Muhammad put his talents to evil use, making a sniper's nest out of the trunk of his car. He and Malvo worked as a team in shooting, with one man firing the rifle while the other watched the victims. They often targeted people doing simple, everyday tasks such as pumping their gas or leaving the store. In total, they killed 10 people and injured 3 other people. Listen, dude, what is your deal? I'm trying to find this thing, but basically, he killed an FBI agent, someone who definitely would not be a great person to take out when running from the FBI, because they kind of look for you a little harder when you do that. It's just one of those things that I would recommend avoiding. Man, going through some of these lists of how he shot some, I'm going to read off the attacks here, unfortunately, just to honor the people who died. Honestly, I'm saying this fucking guy's name a lot. Let's talk about the people who actually were victims to it. On February 16th, 2002, 21-year-old cashier Kenya Nicole Cook was shot and killed by Lee Malvo in the front door of her aunt's home in Tacoma, Washington. Cook's aunt, Issa Nichols, had been good friends with John Allen Muhammad's ex-wife Mildred and had engaged her to seek a divorce. Okay, so there's that connection. On March 19th, 2002, Jerry Taylor, 60, was killed by a single shot to the chest fired by a long range as he practiced chip shots at a Tucson, Arizona golf course. Muhammad's sister lived near the golf course, and he was visiting her during that shooting. 2 deaths and 4 injuries followed in other states from March through July of 2002, where they were near at the time, and they were all very, very similar. On August 1st, 2002, John Gaeta, 51, was changing a tire in a parking lot of Homicide, Louisiana, and was shot and killed in the neck by Malvo. The bullet exited through Gaeta's back, and he pretended to be dead while Malvo stole his wallet. Gaeta ran to a service station, and after the shooter left, discovered that he was bleeding. Okay, buddy, you got shot. I'm pretty sure I shouldn't be talking shit. I've never been shot. Okay, shut my mouth. He went to a hospital and was released within an hour. On March 1, 2010, he received a letter of apology from Malvo. Oh, thanks, Malvo. Man, that'll save it. That'll fix the day. Write a letter of apology. I mean, you're a stand-up guy, Malvo. Thank you. Thank you for that. On September 5th, 2002, at 10:30 p.m., Paul LaRufa, a 55-year-old pizzeria owner, was shot 6 times at close range while locking up his Italian restaurant in Clinton, Maryland. Listen, nothing good happens with the fucking name Clinton. Oh my God, it's like, who would even name their city Clinton? That's fucking Deathville. Everyone there is shot 2 times in the back of the head, and it's reported a suicide. Every single whatever. I'm talking shit now. LaRufa survived the shooting, and his laptop computer was found in John Allen Muhammad's car, where he and Malvo were arrested. Oh my God! On September 21st, 2002, at 12:15 a.m., 41-year-old Milan A. Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm going to murder your name. That was not okay to say the word murder during this. Oh, my God. I feel bad. Okay. 41-year-old Milan Waldemariam was fatally shot in the head and the back with a .22 caliber pistol in Atlanta, Georgia. Waldemariam was helping the owner of Sammy's Package Stores close up for the night when the shooting had occurred. 19 hours later, on the same day, Claudine Parker, a 52-year-old liquor clerk in Montgomery, Alabama, was shot in the chest and killed during a robbery. Her co-worker, 24-year-old Keely Adams, was critically wounded with a shot through the neck but survived. Evidence found at the crime scene eventually tied this killing to the Beltway attacks. So by what I'm saying is these are all the preliminary attacks. So before the Beltway attacks, these fucking people were crossing the country just killing motherfuckers. So this was a time when police departments weren't talking to each other, and it was almost a competition for who could bust this guy. I'm not giving you my info because that could help you bust him. But it was a time of high ego, very ridiculously high ego. So keep that in mind. And people say, no, it's not, bro. It's not high ego, bro. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it fucking was. Everyone who was there at the time says it was. So you don't know more than them. I'm taking their word for it over yours. That's how it is. Ugh. Sorry. Evidence found at the crime scene eventually tied to this killing at the Beltway attack, blah, 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 blah. Was shot through the neck but survived. Evidence found at this crime scene was eventually tied to the killing of the Beltway attacks and allowed authorities to identify Muhammad and Malvo as suspects, although this connection was not made until October 17th. So it took a while for them to be like, this is what's going on here. On September 23rd, 2002. Man, these dudes are making quick fucking work. Day after day after day, they're killing people. Psycho fucks. 75-year-old Hong Im Ballinger was shot in the head and killed with a Bushmaster rifle in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Fuck. Muhammad and Malvo were later linked to this killing. So this poor fucking dude, can you imagine? You're just out walking your dog, and then just out of nowhere, it's lights out. That's just fucking nuts. Drives me a little crazy. And you know what? The car had New Jersey license plates on it, so that makes a whole lot of sense. Fucking Jersey Shore-ass motherfuckers were in there. New Jersey, I don't understand why New Jersey should just get sucked up into New York. Rhode Island and Connecticut should just get sucked up into Maryland and Pennsylvania. I don't know. Everyone just gets sucked into each other. We don't need a bajillion and 12 states you can just walk across. It's stupid. Anyway. At 5:20 p.m. on Wednesday, October 2nd, 2002, a shot was fired through the window of a Michael's craft store in Aspen Hill. The bullet narrowly missed Ann Chapman, a cashier at the store. Since no one was injured, the shot was assumed to be random, and no serious alarms were raised. Okay, that's so fucking dumb. Well, it was random. So what? Some guy was out just playing with his fucking hula hoop and just popped around off and like I don't understand. The fuck you mean? Someone shot a fucking bullet through a window. Figure that shit out. That's ridiculous. What the fuck? I don't understand why people try to convince themselves why like everything's fine here. It was probably just yeah. You know what? Now that I think about it, you know what? Hunting season is a year away from now, or about a month away from now. A year away, a month away, and people are probably just shooting rounds in the air, just making sure their guns work. That's probably what's happening. I can't believe that. No one was injured. The shot was assumed to be random, and no serious alarms were raised. Ugh, how? So it takes someone dying for that to be. It narrowly missed her. They tried to kill her, clearly. Ugh, whatever. I'll move on. However, approximately 1 hour later at 6:30 p.m., James Martin, a 55-year-old program analyst at NOAA, which is where all the important weather shit happens to make sure that we don't get fucking sucked up into a hurricane unexpectedly, was shot and killed at 2201 Randolph Road in the parking lot of a Shoppers Food Warehouse grocery store located in Wheaton. So he just was like fucking popping people for no reason. On the morning of October 3rd, 4 people were shot dead within a span of approximately 2 fucking hours in Aspen Hill and nearby areas in Montgomery County. So, can you imagine being a police officer during this time? Can you fucking imagine? You're trying to respond to help all these motherfucking people. You're trying to protect people. This is why I'm saying it's a hard job. So, like, yeah, I critique the stuff that they do wrong, but you need to glorify them when they do the stuff right. And right now, these cops were trying everything in their power to stop them from killing people. And they had 4 people shot and killed within 2 hours. That's just unbelievable. That's so crazy. It's just so crazy. That would just be a very tough time to be a cop. It'd be very tough to keep watching your community under attack. That would be very hard. Another was killed that evening in Tacoma neighborhood of the District of Columbia. So the first one was at 7:41 a.m. James L. Buchanan, a 39-year-old landscaper known as Sonny, was shot dead at 11411 Park Rockview Pike near Rockville, Maryland. Ooh, that's a lot of words like that. Anyway. Buchanan was shot while mowing the grass at the Fitzgerald Auto Mall. Dude's out mowing the lawn and gets fucking shot and killed. Ugh. Okay, half hour later, it's now 8:12 a.m. 54-year-old part-time taxi cab driver Prem Kumar Volakar was killed in Aspen Hill in Montgomery County while pumping gasoline into his taxi at a mobile station at Aspen Hill Road and Connecticut Avenue. Poor guy's just trying to get some fucking gas. And with this one, he actually walked over to another person's car begging her for help while he was bleeding. That lady was screaming for help. I remember watching like a documentary on that one, and just that one kind of stuck with me a little harder. Because, dude, I drive Uber and Lyft, too, and I know, like, when you just stop in at the gas station and you're just like, all right, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to get my next dollar here, just trying to fucking make it, dude. And you get fucking shot and killed for no goddamn reason. I get really upset about people just taking life for no reason. The fuck? It's not yours to fucking take. Okay, 20 minutes later at 8:37 a.m., Sarah Ramos, a 34-year-old babysitter and housekeeper, was killed at 3701 Rossmore Boulevard at the Leisure World Shopping Center in Norbic. She had gotten off a bus and was seated on a bench reading a book. Reading a book. Just a babysitter and a housekeeper. Shot and killed because she had the audacity of reading a fucking book. Unbelievably, I'm sorry, ma'am. That's... You know, reading is good. All she did was read a book. She read a fucking book, and she got killed. Anyway, at 9:58 a.m., in what was to be the last killing of that morning, 25-year-old Lori Ann Lewis Rivera was killed while vacuuming her Dodge Caravan at a Shell station at the intersection of Connecticut and Knowles Avenue in Kensington, Maryland. 25-year-old Lori Ann Lewis Rivera. 25, dude. That's my age. 25. She was vacuuming her car. And maybe it's just because I'm rambling to myself, but I feel like I'm like, forgive me if I'm not doing this the best. I don't feel like this is This one, the DC Sniper, ever since I was a kid, I remember like the first time hearing about it. This one stuck with me forever because I was like looking, when I was a kid, I started like looking at roofs and I started like looking at cars and I was like, what? Someone's trying to kill me for what did I do? Like, why is someone trying to kill me? What happened? I don't know what I did, but I remember this one definitely stuck with me. That's kind of why I wanted to do it the first time. But anyway, the snipers then waited until 9:20 p.m. before shooting Pascal Charlotte, a 72-year-old retired carpenter, while he was walking on Georgia Avenue at Kalmia Road in Washington, D.C. Charlotte died less than an hour later. 72 years, made it through all of this bullshit, made it through fucking World War II. Dude is a champion. Gets shot by a fucking asshole. In each shooting, the victims were killed by a single bullet fired from some distance, and in each case, the killer struck and then vanished. This pattern was not detected until after the shootings occurred on October 3rd. So, it seems to me is what happened is they were trying to send a message almost that morning, like, no, you guys aren't listening to us. We're trying to get your community's attention by shooting people, and they were like, you're not hearing me. So they shot 4 people in 2 hours. Dude, if you want to get people's attention, get their fucking phone number. Or just do that thing where you just go on the street and scream real loud for no fucking reason, or just wear a dress in public. I don't know, just literally do anything other than what the fuck you're doing. Fear quickly spread throughout the region as news of the shooting spread. At a press conference meeting, Chief of Police of Montgomery County, Charles Moose, who was a fucking badass G, by the way, I want to get that guy on this podcast. That dude handled this fucking situation like a badass. Informed parents that schools were on a code blue alert, keeping children indoors, and that many of the time, being that the schools were safe. Let me try to say it again. Keeping children inside, and that for that time, being in the schools were the safest option. So they wouldn't go outside for recess, lunch, anything like that. They just get dropped off, go inside, stay inside, and they get picked up. But there's a problem with that. There's kids still outside. Many parents went to pick up their children at school early, not allowing them to take the school bus or walk home. Montgomery County Public Schools, District of Columbia Public Schools, and private schools went into a lockdown with no recess or outdoor physical activity or classes. Other school districts in the area also took preliminary cautions, keeping students indoors. Police had only a few pieces of evidence to work with, including one initial report of during the Silver Spring attack, someone had reported seeing a white box truck. After the murder in Washington, D.C., witnesses then began telling police that they had seen a blue Chevrolet Caprice instead of the white box truck. They also initially believed that the murders were all carried out with a .223 caliber rifle. The man who declared that he saw the white box truck was full of shit. Guys, if you don't know what you're talking about, don't fucking talk to the cops. Like, they're looking for legitimate info. And yeah, it's cool to be the hero if you are the hero, but you're not the fucking hero in this situation. You know, you're the asshole who gave the cop bad info because you wanted to be a fucking hero. This guy literally told the cops that it was a white box van and some dude got out the side door with like an AK-47 or an AR-15 and fucking pop rounds off and then jumped back in and they ran away. Like, really? Do you think that they would have been getting away with it for this fucking long if that was the method? And that's what police were like, wow, this doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but it's the only thing we got. And then everyone else is like, it's a blue Caprice. And they're like, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. Hold on, let's go check this out. So they went back to the store, went onto the camera footage of the store that this dude was at, and the fucking guy was inside of the back of the store during the time of the shooting. This guy had no fucking idea what he was talking about. He was like browsing the fucking bread aisle when the shooting happened. He didn't even hear the pop. So dude just wanted to be involved, so obviously that motherfucker got arrested. At this point, Malvu Muhammad started covering a wider area and taking 2 or 3 days between shootings. So they got their attention now, and now they're like, all right, we're going to go back to the pace of the couple days. On October 4th, 43-year-old homemaker Carolyn Sewell was wounded in the chest at 2:30 p.m. in the parking lot of another Michael's store at Spotsylvania Mall in Spotsylvania. Well, obviously. Well, she was loading purchases into her minivan. By this point, hundreds of journalists had converged to cover the unfolding events. School officials reassured the public that they were taking every measure possible to protect children by tightening security and canceling all outdoor classes. On October 7th at 8:09 a.m., Iran Brown, a 13-year-old student, was shot in the chest and critically wounded as he arrived at Benjamin Tasker Middle School at 4901 Collington Road in Bowie, Maryland, in Prince George Georges County. Okay. Buddy, you shot a kid. Now you're crossing the fucking line. Now you're crossing the goddamn line. He's 13, man. And you fucking shot a kid. What the fuck is wrong with you? He's a kid. I guess whatever the message you're trying to send, dude, the message I'm trying to send back is fuck you. Okay? Brown's name was initially concealed from the public, but was later revealed. His aunt, Tanya Brown, was a nurse who had just brought him to school. She then heard a pop, looked out the window, and saw her nephew laying on the ground bleeding. She rushed outside, grabbed him, and so she didn't even give a fuck about herself. She's like, shoot me, bitch, I don't give a fuck. If he dies, I'm dead anyway. Like, that is that mother bear, like, whether it's her kid, her nephew, her grand, it doesn't matter. She's going to take a bullet for that boy, and that's fucking dope. You're awesome, lady. Blah, blah, blah. Rushed him to the hospital. Put him in the car. Rushed him to the hospital emergency room. Despite the serious injuries, including damage to several major organs, meaning like heart and lungs and diaphragm and your guts and all the important shit that you need to stay alive. But he did survive the attack, and this dude, 13-year-old badass, later testified at Muhammad's trial. You are the shit. You're awesome, dude. I want to be your friend. At this crime scene, the authorities discovered a shell casing as well as a tarot card, which, if you don't know what the tarot card, it's like those old creepy-ass cards, and this one was actually the death card that they left there, and inscribed with the phrase, "Call me God," on the front, and on the separate lines on the back it said, "For you, Mr. Police." And then it said, code, "Call me God, do not release to the press." Despite police efforts to honor the request not to release information about the card to the press, the details were made... Despite public efforts to honor the request not to release information about the card to the press, details were made public by WUSA TV and then by the Washington Post just one day later. Thanks, guys. Helpful. Nice work. On October 9th at 8:18, when they were like, how did this happen? So at the police station, these motherfuckers were literally going through their windows and like peeking in. They're like, what you got? Snap, 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 picture, recording. They're just, everything that was helping the police catch the guy shooting everyone, they were just fucking ruining it. It's like, dude, I understand you're in the media and it's your job to report that stuff, but at some point, shouldn't you just be like, hey, how about we catch the guy and then we'll do like an exclusive story afterwards? I don't know what you do, but you don't fuck up the community worse. That's what you don't fucking do. You're supposed to be serving the community by giving them information, but right now the only service you're doing is getting more people shot, and you're giving services to the fucking churches for all the funerals. That's all you're doing by spying on the fucking people trying to help you. Not okay. At this time. Now, there are times when being a journalist and spying on the people trying to help you is okay. Like Edward Snowden spying on the NSA, spying on us. That's okay. You're allowed to do that. Because that was bullshit. Anyway, on October 9th at 8:18, 53-year-old civil engineer Dean Harold Myers was shot dead while pumping gasoline at a Sunoco gas station at 7203 Sudley Road in Prince William County, Virginia, near the city of Manassas. On the morning of October 11th at 9:30 a.m., 53-year-old businessman Kenneth Bridges was shot dead while pumping fuel at an Exxon station off of Interstate 95 in Spotsylvania County, Virginia, near Fredericksburg. On October 14th, 1915, 47-year-old Linda Franklin, which is the one I was telling you about, who worked for the FBI. She was an FBI intelligence analyst who, that's dope. It's dope. If anyone knows any intelligence analysts, send them my way. I want to talk to him. Blah, 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 who was a resident of Arlington County, Virginia, and was shot dead in a covered parking lot in Home Depot in Fairfax County, Virginia, just outside the Falls Church at Seven Corners Shopping Center. The police received what seemed to be a very good lead after the October 14th shooting, but it was later determined that the witness was inside of the Home Depot at the time. Yeah, this is what I was telling you about. Sorry. And was lying. The witness, Matthew Dowdy, was subsequently convicted of interfering with the investigation. You fucking asshole. Good. By this point, gas stations had begun to put up tarps to conceal their customers, that's good. Malvo and Muhammad did not commit any more shootings for 5 days. They were like, oh shit, the tarps are out, man. We gotta fucking get out of here. On October 19th at 8 p.m., 37-year-old Jeffrey Hopper was shot in the parking lot near the Ponderosa Steakhouse in State Route 54 in Ashland, Virginia, about 90 miles south of Washington near Interstate 95, who phoned for an ambulance enabling Hopper to survive his injuries. Authorities discovered a 4-page letter from the shooter in the woods and demanded $10 million and made a threat to children. Bro, you already fucking shot one. Like, you know, the threat, you can make your fucking threats. You already shot someone. Like, we already fucking want you dead. We already know you're willing to kill kids, so you make the threat, I'm gonna hurt kids. You already did, you douche fuck. God damn, what a fucking idiot. Anyway, on October 21st, Richmond area police arrested 2 men, one with a white van outside a gas station. The men turned out to be illegal immigrants with no connection to the shooter, and they were handed over in federal custody to the Immigration and Nationalization Service, which subsequently deported. That's fucked up. I get it, but come on. They're just like trying to go to fucking work, and they're like, what? I didn't shoot anyone? Okay, well, get the fuck out of here anyway. Like, jeez, man. The next day, October 22nd, bus driver Conrad Johnson, 35, was shot at 5:56 a.m. while standing on the steps of his bus at 14100 block of Grand Prix Road. And I'm sorry, the 14100. How would you say that? 14,100 block, I guess. A 14100 block of Grand Prix Road in Aspen Hill, Maryland. Chief Moose released part of the content of the shooter's letter in which he declares, "Your children are not safe anywhere at any time." Johnson later died of his injuries. While no shootings occurred on October 23rd, the day is significant for 2 reasons. First, ballistics experts confirmed that Johnson as the 10th fatality in the Beltway shootings. Second, in a yard in Tacoma, Washington, police searched with metal detectors for bullets, shell casing, and other evidence that might provide a link to the shooter. A tree stump believed to have been used for target practice was seized. It was seized? How do you seize a tree stump? Like, you just get one of those excavators and just pull it out of the ground, I'm guessing? Like, I don't know, but it's funny that they use the word seized, like they took it off the shelf. Like, I'm fucking grabbing this is mine. It's just the way, I don't know, that's just funny to me. Anyway. Basically 7 separate shooting victims, including 6 deaths in the first 10 hours of the D.C. area spree. The North American media soon devoted enormous coverage to the shootings. So, sorry, I lost my spot. I cannot find my spot. Sorry about that. Oh, by the middle of October 2002, all news television networks provided line coverage with the aftermath of each attack, and the coverage often lasting hours at a time. The Fox show America's Most Wanted devoted an entire episode to the shooters in hopes of aiding in their capture. Much of the coverage in the case in the New York Times was written by Jason Blair and subsequently found to be fabricated. Okay. That's a dick move. Subsequently found to be fabricated. That is a dick move. Jason Blair, whoever you are. We gonna find you. Jayson. So it's Jason. Jason Blair. We gonna find you, Jason. It led to an ensuing scandal, led to the newspaper's top 2 editors, Howell Raines and Gerald Boyd, to resign. Yeah, because you made shit up and posted it as fact. Again, not helping the fucking community. You dick. During the weeks when the attacks occurred, fear of apparently random shootings generated a great deal of public apprehension, especially at service stations and the public and the parking lots of large stores. People pumping gasoline at gas stations would walk around their cars quickly, hoping that they would be a harder target to hit. After consistent phone calls to national media outlets by Lisa Notras of the Lake Jackson, Texas area, some gas stations put up tarps. I'm sorry. So they call a bunch of phone calls. So they're just like, hey, so Lisa just picks up the phone and calls a bunch of fucking places. Like, that's pretty cool. I guess she really took it upon herself to help out. She yelled and put up tarps and awnings all over fuel pumps so people would feel safer. Also, people would attempt to fuel their vehicles at the naval base in Maryland as they felt it was safer inside the guarded fence. Various government buildings such as the White House, U.S. Capitol, and Supreme Court building, and memorial tourist attractions to the National Mall in D.C. also received heightened security. For the duration of the attacks, the United States Senate pages received a driven police escort to and from the United States Capitol every day and were not allowed to leave their residence halls for any reason except work. Drivers of white vans and box trucks were viewed with suspicion from other motorists as initial media reports indicated the suspect driving such vehicles. So even after they came out and said that's not it, obviously some people just didn't get the fucking message and they were still scared of the white vans because that was the initial report. Like, once you learn something for the first time, that's what you want to learn forever. That's what you now want to know in your head. So that's tough, man. That's tough. Don't make shit up. Look what you did. Now you made everyone afraid of white vans. And I think I guess white vans, that's pretty, fuck white vans. You're right. Yeah, fuck white vans. After a specific, they're scary, right? I mean, they're always not painted and covered windows, and just, there's always, like, probably stolen kids in the back, probably driven by a priest. We never know. At the height of the public fear, some school districts, such as Henrico County Public Schools and Hanover School District, after the Ponderosa shooting, simply closed school for the day. For the day? Like, okay, well, that's not going to help tomorrow, I guess. Other schools, such as MJBHA, canceled all outdoor activities after the shooting at the Connecticut and Aspen intersection. Others changed after-school procedures for parents to pick up their kids to minimize the amount of time children spent out in the open. Extra police officers were placed in schools because of this fear. The addition to this, Joel Schumacher's film Phone Booth was deemed potentially upsetting enough that its release was delayed for months until 2003. That's fucking crazy. They delayed. So that's, you know what? Props to you. I was just bitching about those guys, but Joel Schumacher, props to you for not releasing a movie that's gonna fucking scare the public during a time when they're already scared. That's the move. Your movie still came out. It still did well. If you haven't seen Phone Booth, it's a great movie. I would recommend seeing it. I've seen it. It's fine. I just really think everyone needs to take his method of approach. Like, maybe not terrorize the people who are gonna pay me for this. Like, maybe that's a good move. The investigation was publicly headed by Montgomery County Police Department and its chief, Charles Moose, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the FBI, and the U.S. Secret Service, as well as the Virginia Department of Transportation, and police departments in other jurisdictions where the shootings took place, provided assistance in the investigation. Police responded within minutes to reports of attacks within 3 weeks of the sniper. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm like this. You know what it is. I ate one of those THC gummy bears before this. 400 milligrams per gummy bear. That's definitely what's going on. I didn't even think of that. I was like, this one's a dud, man. I didn't feel shit, and it's obviously kicking in. My bad. You know what? Actually, it's not my bad. It's my good. It's my good. I feel great. So I'm just gonna keep reading. Thank you. Police responded within minutes of reports. I can't read. Police responded within minutes to reports of attacks during the 3 weeks of the sniper attacks, cordoning off nearby roads and highways and inspecting all drivers, thereby grinding traffic to a halt for hours at a time. Police conveyed on the area, talking to people, and collected surveillance tapes. By Friday night, October 4th, the 5 shootings on October 3rd and 2 on October 2nd were forensically linked to the same gun. Eyewitness accounts of the attacks were mostly confused and spotty. Hotlines were set up for the investigation, were flooded with tips. Early tips from eyewitness included reports of a white box truck with dark lettering speeding away. Other reports, so more people are saying this shit, so it wasn't even just the one guy. Another guy's saying it's a gray car was spotted speeding away. Another guy says that it was a white SUV spotting away. So I guess that I can see why they may be more into white vans or whatever, because it does seem like there was more. They made it seem like there wasn't that many, but I guess there was quite a few. As I'm going down my list here, I'm just like changing how I write, apparently. Whatever. The shooter attempted to engage the police in dialogue. Sorry. The shooter I couldn't read that. The shooter, my handwriting is such trash. The shooter attempted to engage the police in a dialogue, compelling Moose to tell the media cryptic messages intended for the sniper. At several scenes of the shooting, tarot cards were left as calling cards, so it happened more than just one time. A telephone call from the shooters was traced to a payphone at a gasoline station in Roanoke County. The police missed the suspects by a matter of a few minutes and initially detained the occupants of a van at another pay telephone in the same intersection. And actually, when they called the first time, it called a 911 line in a different county, and the 911 operator cuts them off mid-conversation and goes, yeah, actually, we're not handling that case. You're going to have to call this county. Do you want their number? It's like the number they dialed was 91 motherfucking 1. Like, that. What other number do you... That's a 911. Like, oh, yeah, no, it's extension 17? My fucking bad. 911-17. Like, no, you fuck. Take the goddamn call. Don't you think it's kind of important, regardless of where it is? Oh my god. On the phone call, the sniper boasted of his cleverness, mentioned the previously unsolved murder in Montgomery. This was identified as the September 21st shooting at the liquor store in Montgomery, Alabama. On October 17th, authorities said they matched Melville's fingerprint found at the Benjamin Tasker Middle School site with one lifted from... They matched Melville's fingerprint found at the Benjamin Tasker Middle School site with one lifted from the Montgomery liquor store scene. After further research into Melville's background, the police found he had close ties to John Allen Muhammad. So we're coming in now. Difficult. Very difficult, though, because despite an apparent lack of progress publicly, federal authorities were making significant headway in their investigation and developed new leads in Washington State, Alabama, and New Jersey. They learned that Muhammad's ex-wife, who had obtained a protective order against him, lived near the Capitol Beltway in Clinton. Again, don't name your fucking town Clinton. A community suburban Prince George County. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. A community in suburban Prince George County, Maryland. Information was also developed in an automobile purchased in New Jersey by Muhammad. Police discovered that the New Jersey license plate issued to Muhammad's 1990 Chevrolet Caprice has been checked by radio patrol cars several times near the shooting location in various jurisdictions in several states, but the car had not been stopped because law enforcement networks did not indicate that it was connected to any of the criminal activity, and they were focused exclusively on a white van. On October 3rd, 2002, police in Washington, D.C. stopped the Capri for a minor traffic infraction 2 hours prior to the shooting of Pascal Charlotte. Witnesses later reported seeing the Capri near the scene of the crime. So they already had this guy pulled over before this, and they were like, yeah, just slow it down, all right? And they're like, okay, sorry about that. They're also like, do you know you have a hole in your trunk? Apparently they didn't need to bring that up. Anyway, on October 8th, 2002, Baltimore Police Department investigated a dark blue Chevrolet Caprice with a person sleeping inside that was parked near the Jones Fall Expressway on 28th Street in Baltimore. The officers were concerned that the driver's license was from Washington State and that the vehicle was registered in New Jersey, although the vehicle was suspicious enough for them to investigate, and it was fit the description of the vehicle associated with the shooting in D.C. 5 days earlier. The officers did not question the occupants extensively, nor did they search the vehicle. Okay. Authorities were quick to issue a media alert to the public to be on the lookout for a dark blue Chevrolet Capri sedan. For the public, as well as law enforcement agencies throughout the nation, this is a major change from the mysterious white box truck earlier sought based upon reported sightings. See what you do? You fucked up. You fucked up. You got people thinking it's a white van. The Chevrolet Caprice was later discovered to have formerly been used as an undercover police car. Oh my god, in Bordertown, New Jersey. That's fucking crazy. I'm looking at the picture right now of this guy's car. It's a 1990 Chevrolet Caprice. It's this disgusting shit yellow with rust around the tires, like it was driven around the Midwest for the majority of its life. And what happened was they were off on this truck stop on the side, and this semi-driver was like, yo, I'm pretty sure I see the fucking dudes, the car you're looking for. And the 911 guy was like, oh, really? Can you just block the entrance? And he's like, sure, yeah, I'm a semi, I can do that. So he, like, blocks it so they can't leave. And these two dudes are sleeping in the car like it's a fucking hotel. They're just crashed and SWAT teams roll in from either side and fucking just, let's get the fuck on the ground, pussy. Pussy's on the pavement, fellas. Get on the motherfucking ground. Like, that's what I can imagine they were doing out there. Like, I would be so pumped to fucking knock a motherfucker out if he was popping people like that. I would be like, get that booty popping shit ass on the fucking ground. And the dudes were actually very surprised when they got arrested. They honestly didn't think they were being pursued as closely as they were. They thought they were going to get away with this shit. It's like, dude, you're going to get fucking caught eventually. What you're doing. The crime spree came to a close at 3:15 a.m. on October 24, 2002, when Muhammad and Malvo were found sleeping in the car in 1990 Chevrolet Caprice, which had been dismissed earlier in the investigation because they were pulled over once and also questioned once, and they still let them go, at a rest stop off of Interstate 70 near Myersville, Maryland, and were arrested on federal weapons charges because they found that giant sniper in the trunk, and they were like, hey, pretty sure felons can't have this. And they were like, I don't really care. And they were like, okay, well, here's another charge for you then. Police were tipped off by Whitney Donahue, who noticed the parked car. 4 hours earlier, Montgomery County Police Chief Charles Moose had relayed this cryptic message to the sniper. Quote, you have indicated that you want us to do and say certain things. You have asked us to say we have caught the sniper like a dude, like a duck at duckets. We understand that saying this is important to you. Moose asked the media to carry the message accurately and often. The statement may be referred to a Cherokee fable, but analysts disagree. I disagree too. I think he just fucking said a statement and people are looking for it to link to something. Anyway, stop trying to take away the Cherokee shit. It's their shit. Leave them alone. Trooper First Class D. Wayne Smith. That's a dope name. Trooper First Class D. Wayne Smith. Oh my god. D. Wayne Smith, we are going to be friends. Of the Maryland State Police was the first to arrive at the scene and immediately used his light blue unmarked police vehicle to block the exit by positioning his car sideways between two parked tractor trailers. Okay, well, I don't know why they're saying tractor trailers like that, but they were definitely semi-trailers, and the semi-trucks also definitely did this, so this is missing something that I didn't write in here. I'm sorry. As more troopers arrived, they effectively sealed off the rest of the area and both the entrance and exit ramps without the suspects being aware of the rapidly growing police presence. Later, as truck driver Ron Lance was attempting to exit the rest area, his tractor trailer was commandeered by troopers who used the truck in place of a police car to complete the road belt at the exit. This is a different guy. With the suspects' escape route sealed off, the SWAT officers moved in and arrested them. A stolen Bushmaster .223 caliber weapon and a bipod were found in a bag in Muhammad's car. Ballistics tests were later conclusively linked to the seized rifle to 11 of the 14 shootings, including one in which no one was hurt. To define hurt too. No one was shot, but dude, that lady had a bullet whiz past her fucking head while she was trying to check people out. Was she getting like $4 a fucking hour in 2002? No harm. The bitch is trying to pay her fucking bills and she's almost getting shot in the head. Yeah, right, no harm. Oh my god. The attacks were carried out with a stolen Bushmaster XM15 semi-automatic .223 caliber rifle, except with EOTech holographic weapon sight, effective at ranges of up to 300 meters, 984 feet, which was found in the vehicle. The trunk of the Chevrolet Caprice was modified to serve as a rolling sniper's nest. The back seat was modified to allow one person to access the trunk laying down. The sniper could lie in the prone position for all my COD friends. Through that way, they could take shots through a small hole created for the purpose near a license plate. People are like, why the fuck would you do this? Investigators and the prosecution suggested during pre-trial motions that Muhammad intended to kill his second ex-wife, Mildred. Remember we were talking about the lady who saved the kids from his psycho ass? He was trying to kill her for it. Who he had felt had estranged him from his children. Dude, you abducted them. You did this. According to his theory, the other shootings were intended to cover up the motive for the crime. Makes sense. Muhammad believed that the police would not focus on the estranged ex-husband as a subject if Mildred appeared to be a random victim of a serial killer. So, instead of killing one guy, we're going to kill a bajillion. Okay, makes sense. During the attack, Muhammad frequently visited the neighborhood where she lived, and some of the incidents occurred relatively nearby. And that does, I'm looking at the map. Additionally, he had earlier made threats against her. Mildred said that she was his intended. Mildred herself said that she thought she was his intended target. However, Judge Leroy Millett Jr. prevented prosecutors from presenting that theory during the trial, saying that the link had not been firmly established. Which I guess I do understand. It's cool to learn their theories, but I can see why that wouldn't be allowed in court too. While imprisoned, Melville wrote a number of erratic diary entries about what he termed jihad against the United States. I have been accused on my mission. Allah knows I'm gonna suffer now, he wrote. Because of his rants and drawings featured not only figures as Osama bin Laden and Saddam Hussein, but also characters from the film series The Matrix. Okay, dude wants to be Neo, where these musings were dismissed as immaterial. Immaterial? Dude, the fucking guy wrote it. Like, why can't you use that? Some investigators reportedly said that they had all but eliminated terrorist ties or political ideologies as a motive. Nonetheless, in at least one of the ensuing murder trials, a Virginia court found Muhammad guilty of killing pursuant to the direction or order of terrorism. Okay. Yeah, I would just say it definitely is terrorism, just straight up. So you don't need to add all the extra fancy shit to the term. Okay. At the 2006 trial of Muhammad, Malvo testified that the aim of the killing spree was to kidnap children for the purpose of extorting money from the government and to set up a camp to train the children how to terrorize cities with the ultimate goal of, quote, to shut things down across the United States. Okay, well, how'd that work out for you, buddy? Oh my God, this is just absolutely nuts. Listen, the guy got basically tried in Maryland. He was tried in Virginia. Malvo was tried also. He fucking killed people. A lot of this I kind of want to just sum up here, and for one reason only, and that's because a lot of these people during the trial area try to become martyrs, and they try to spit shit out. Oh, this is blah, blah, blah. I'm not giving it to you, fuckhead. I'm not giving it to you. All right. What happened was they went there and they appealed it a couple times. Went to this, whatever. They got basically given the death sentence for doing this crazy, awful shit, which they deserved 100%. Are you kidding me? Like, dude, what do you mean you don't think that you deserve the death? Like, I'm talking about John Allen Muhammad. The problem that I've got here is that I'm trying to read my shit handwriting, and I'm really sorry about that. But, I'm going to read you, just so you can get some better, this is what I'm going to read here. Malvo testified in court, tried to explain some shit. And Lee Boyd Malvo took the stand and confessed to the 17 murders that he got involved with also. He also gave more detailed version of the pair's plans. Malvo, after extensive psychological counseling, admitted that he was lying earlier at the Virginia trial, where he had admitted to being the trigger man for every shooting. Malvo claimed that he had said this in order to protect Muhammad for the potential death sentence, and because it was more difficult to obtain the death penalty for a minor. Okay. Malvo said that he wanted to do what little he could for the families of the victims by letting the full story be told. In his 2 days of testimony, Malvo outlined detailed aspects of the shooting. Part of his testimony concerned Muhammad's complete multi-phase plan. His plan consisted of 3 phases in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore metro area. Phase 1 consisted of meticulously planning, mapping, and practicing their locations around the D.C. area. This way, after each shooting, they would be able to quickly leave on a predetermined path and move on to the next location. Muhammad's goal in Phase 1 was to kill 6 white people a day for 30 days. Malvo went on to describe how Phase 1 did not go as planned due to heavy traffic and a lack of a clear shot or getaway positions. Okay. Phase 2 was meant to take place in Baltimore, Maryland. Melville described how this phase was close to being implemented, but was not carried out. Phase 2 was intended to begin by killing a pregnant woman by shooting her in the stomach. Okay, that's fucking... Why? It makes sense. The next step would have been to shoot and kill a Baltimore police officer. Then, that's also fucked up. Then, at the officer's funeral, they planned to detonate several improvised explosive devices, complete with shrapnel. Okay. Can I ask you something? How the fuck you getting that there, buddy? You got cops everywhere. That's what they do. They got their dogs there. They're aware that people are going to want to go to an area, especially at this time. So, if all this was going on, do you think you would have been able to get your fucking IEDs into that area in the first place, you dumb fuck? Clearly did not think that far ahead. This last phase was to take place during or shortly after Phase 2, which was to extort several millions of dollars from the United States government. Which, all you have to do that is run for office, you stupid fuck. You don't have to do all this shit. The money would be used to finance a larger plan and travel north to Canada. Along the way, they would stop in YMCAs and orphanages, recruiting other impressionable young boys with no parents or guidance. Muhammad thought he could act as their father figure, as he did with Malvo. Which he definitely manipulated the fuck out of Malvo, clearly. Once he recruited a large number of young boys and made his way up to Canada, it sounds like he's a fucking Epstein ass or some shit, or like fucking Jared from Subway. He would begin their training. Malvo described how John Muhammad intended to train boys in weapons and stealth as he has been taught. Finally, after their training was complete, John Allen Muhammad would send them out across the United States to carry out mass shootings in other cities, just as he had done in Washington and Baltimore. These attacks would be coordinated and intended to send the country into chaos that had already been built up after 9/11. I didn't even think of that at the time either, too. Like, September 11th, 2001 was 1 year before the DC snipers, basically. So, like, these guys are fucking scared shitless of terrorism as it is. Obviously. God damn. Oh, man. Okay. Well, here's the deal. The execution of John Muhammad was brought all the way up to the Supreme Court. They kept appealing it, and they were like, "Nah, nigga, I'm sorry, yeah." I cannot read what I'm trying to say here. What is this word? Blah 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 blah. Okay, went all the way up to the Supreme Court, where his appeal was denied, and he was sentenced to lethal injection. In the days leading up to his execution, John Allen Muhammad spent time with his lawyer working out a final appeal to the Supreme Court, which I already fucking said. During this time with his judge, though, Muhammad began telling his lawyer, "I love you," and granting him permission to write a book about the trial. They became apparently incredibly close friends. Sounds like they were a little closer than that. Muhammad was executed by lethal injection at the Greensville Correctional Center in Jarrett, Virginia on November 10th, 2009. Okay. See ya, bitch. Listen, man. I'm happy you're gone. Malvoy was not put to death, by the way. He was obviously manipulated the way he was. He was sentenced to prison, life imprisonment, because you obviously can't let someone like that out. He's going to be up for, I think he is eligible for parole, so that's interesting to see. I haven't really looked into that, but I should. But listen, the DC sniper, I know, I should have looked into that, but I should. Yeah, I'm on the fucking show already. I'm just, these have been the cases, the Black Dahlia, just because I remember seeing the images for the first time, and I was blown the fuck away that people could do that to each other, and secondly, the DC one has been on my mind forever. So, again, these are my stories, and this is my first attempt at it, so please be nice to me. If you have any tips for me, too, let me know. That's totally fine. If you would like to be a guest on the show at all, please go ahead and email me at jakewritercomedy@gmail.com. Send me that. If you have any stories you'd like me to read on this show, let me know that too. Or just anything at all. Go ahead and just talk to me. I'm a great person, and I think you are a great person too. And I'm going to go ahead and sign off with that message. Again, please go ahead and check out patreon.com/jakewritercomedy. Please go there. It's pledge like $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever. It's literally nothing. I shouldn't say literally nothing. It's not that much of a commitment, but for people, if they're like just pitching $1, it's like, you know, what is $1 if you're already spending the money on coffee every morning? I really do appreciate the help. It really does help me keep going. Again, patreon.com/Jake Ryder Comedy. Follow me on all my social media if you'd like. My handles are the same. It's Jake Ryder Comedy at everything except Facebook. That one's just Jake Ryder because they don't let you do all that. They're just more like, nah, what's your name, dude? All right, we're just gonna toss that up there. Other than that, I hope all of you have a splendid rest of the week. I do have more guests coming up. So people are like, dude, why are you talking to yourself? I have more guests coming up. It was kind of a dry spell. I had some busy stuff going on in life too, as well as some other people. It's pretty busy time of the year for everyone. So, thank you for tuning in again. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have an awesome week. Bye bye.